Your automatic transmission is dying right now, and you're the one killing it with habits you probably think are completely harmless. I've rebuilt hundreds of automatic transmissions over 15 years, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that 90% of premature failures aren't caused by defective parts or bad luck. They're caused by drivers doing things they were never taught were destructive. The worst part is, these habits seem so innocent that you'd never suspect they're shaving years off your transmission's lifespan and setting you up for a repair bill that can easily hit $4,000 or more. Right now, every time you do certain things with your shifter, your throttle, or even your parking brake, you're creating wear patterns and stresses that compound into catastrophic failure. I'm about to expose the exact habits that are destroying your transmission, explain why they're so damaging from a mechanical standpoint, and show you what to do instead so your transmission lasts as long as the engineers intended. If you want to avoid spending thousands on transmission repairs and keep your vehicle running smoothly for years, subscribe to Car Care Xpert right now and turn on notifications because I share insider knowledge like this every week that saves you from expensive mistakes. Number 1, shifting into park while still rolling. This is the single most destructive habit I see drivers commit multiple times every single day, and most people have absolutely no idea they're inflicting serious damage with every occurrence. Here's what happens mechanically when you shift into park while your vehicle is still moving, even at just 1 or 2 miles per hour. Your automatic transmission has a small metal pin called a parking pawl that engages with a notched wheel attached to the transmission's output shaft when you select park. This pawl is designed to lock your transmission and prevent your vehicle from rolling when stationary, but it was never engineered to stop a moving vehicle. That's what your brakes are for. When you shift into park while rolling, you're asking this relatively small parking pawl to absorb all the kinetic energy of your moving vehicle, and the mechanical stress is absolutely brutal. I've disassembled transmissions where the parking pawl was cracked, bent, or completely sheared off because drivers repeatedly shifted into park before coming to a complete stop. The sound you hear when this happens, that clunk or grinding noise, is metal components violently colliding in ways they were never designed to handle. Over time, this abuse damages not just the pawl itself, but also the park gear it engages with, wearing down the teeth and creating slop in the system that eventually leads to a parking brake that doesn't hold properly, or worse, catastrophic internal failure. I've seen vehicles roll away in parking lots because the parking pawl was so damaged from this habit that it could no longer engage properly, creating dangerous situations where cars roll into traffic or into other vehicles. The fix for this problem is absurdly simple, yet somehow constantly ignored. Come to a complete stop, keep your foot on the brake pedal, and only then shift into park. Give it 1 full second of being completely stationary before you move that shifter, and you'll eliminate this entire category of damage. Your transmission will last tens of thousands of miles longer, and you'll never experience that sickening moment when your parking pawl fails completely and your repair shop gives you an estimate that makes you want to cry. Number 2, accelerating hard in lower gears without letting the transmission shift. Modern automatic transmissions are incredibly sophisticated pieces of engineering, but they rely on you understanding one fundamental concept. They need to shift gears at appropriate times to prevent catastrophic internal damage. When you accelerate aggressively while manually holding the transmission in first or second gear, you're forcing components to handle power loads and rotational speeds they were never designed to sustain. The clutch packs inside your automatic transmission are precision assemblies of friction plates and steel discs that engage and disengage to facilitate gear changes. And when you hold a lower gear at high RPMs under heavy throttle, you're generating heat that destroys these clutches faster than almost any other abuse pattern. I've rebuilt transmissions where the clutch material was completely carbonized and the steel plates were warped from heat because the driver loved to wind out first gear before allowing the shift to second. The transmission fluid that's supposed to cool and lubricate these components simply cannot dissipate heat fast enough when you're operating outside normal parameters, and the temperature spikes cause permanent damage that accumulates with every occurrence. Your transmission's torque converter is also taking a beating during this behavior because it's being forced to multiply torque at engine speeds where it's generating maximum heat and stress. What makes this habit particularly insidious is that the damage isn't immediately apparent. You'll continue driving for weeks or months thinking everything is fine until one day the transmission starts slipping, shuddering, or refusing to engage gears properly. By that point, the internal damage is so extensive that a complete rebuild or replacement is your only option. Number 3. Neglecting transmission fluid changes. I cannot overstate how critical transmission fluid is to your automatic transmission survival. Yet this is the most commonly neglected maintenance item I encounter in my shop. Your transmission fluid serves multiple crucial functions. It lubricates moving parts, cools components, facilitates hydraulic pressure for gear changes, and even acts as a cleaning agent to suspend contaminants. When this fluid breaks down from heat and contamination, every single one of these functions deteriorates, and your transmission begins destroying itself from the inside out. The manufacturers who claim lifetime transmission fluid are setting you up for failure because there's no such thing as a fluid that lasts forever under the extreme conditions inside an automatic transmission. I've drained transmission fluid that was supposed to be lifetime and found it darker than used motor oil, contaminated with metal particles from internal wear, and smelling burnt from repeated heat cycling. This degraded fluid loses its ability to maintain proper hydraulic pressure, which means your shifts become harsh, delayed, or inconsistent as the transmission struggles to function with inadequate fluid quality. The clutch packs I mentioned earlier are particularly vulnerable to fluid degradation because they rely on clean fluid with the correct friction modifiers to engage smoothly without slipping. Contaminated or degraded fluid causes these clutches to slip, which generates more heat, which degrades the fluid faster, creating a death spiral that ends in transmission failure. I've documented cases where simple fluid changes at 30,000-mile intervals would have prevented complete transmission failure at 80,000 miles, saving customers $4,000 or more in rebuild costs. The fresh fluid would have removed contaminants, restored proper hydraulic function, and prevented the cascade of failures that occurs when you ignore this maintenance. Most automatic transmissions should have their fluid changed every 30,000 to 50,000 miles, regardless of what the manufacturer claims. And if you tow, drive in extreme temperatures, or operate in stop-and-go traffic regularly, you should change it even more frequently. The cost of a fluid change is typically $150 to $300 depending on your vehicle, while a transmission rebuild or replacement starts around $3,000 and can exceed $6,000 for modern complex transmissions. Do the math and tell me which option makes more financial sense. Number 4, shifting from drive to reverse. Without stopping, this habit is incredibly common in parking lot situations where drivers are trying to save half a second by shifting from forward to reverse or vice versa while still rolling, and it's absolutely destroying their transmissions with mechanical violence they can't see, but their transmission certainly feels. Inside your automatic transmission, shifting between drive and reverse requires multiple clutch packs to disengage, hydraulic circuits to redirect fluid flow, and different clutch packs to engage in reverse configuration. When you make this shift while moving, you're asking all of these components to change state while they're under load and momentum is working against them. The result is a massive shock load through the entire transmission as components try to reverse the direction of rotation while forward momentum is still present. I've measured the force involved in these shock loads, and it's equivalent to dropping your transmission from several feet onto concrete, except you're doing it multiple times per day if you have this habit. This single habit change will add years to your transmission's lifespan and save you from repair bills that can easily total more than the vehicle's current value. Number 5, towing without a transmission cooler or exceeding capacity. Towing is one of the most demanding applications for any automatic transmission, and doing it incorrectly or without proper preparation is a guaranteed path to expensive failure. When you tow a trailer, your transmission is working significantly harder to move the combined weight of your vehicle and the load, which generates substantially more heat than normal driving. Heat is the absolute enemy of automatic transmissions. Every 20-degree increase in operating temperature cuts your transmission's lifespan in half through accelerated fluid breakdown and component wear. I've seen transmissions that towed regularly without auxiliary cooling fail at 60,000 miles when they should have lasted 200,000 or more, all because the owner didn't invest $200 in a proper transmission cooler. The torque converter is particularly vulnerable during towing because it's constantly slipping to multiply torque, and this slippage generates enormous amounts of heat that the factory cooling system often can't handle adequately. Many modern transmissions have such small factory coolers that even moderate towing in warm weather can push fluid temperatures to 250 degrees or higher, well into the danger zone where fluid begins breaking down rapidly. I always recommend installing an aftermarket transmission cooler with a built-in thermostat if you plan to tow anything regularly, and you should monitor your transmission temperature with an aftermarket gauge so you know when you're approaching dangerous levels. Number 6. Ignoring warning signs until complete failure. The final mistake that turns minor transmission issues into catastrophic, expensive failures is ignoring the warning signs your transmission gives you before it dies completely. Transmissions rarely fail without warning. They usually give you weeks or months of symptoms that something is wrong and needs attention. When you notice delayed engagement when shifting into drive or reverse, that's your transmission telling you that hydraulic pressure is degraded or clutch packs are wearing out. When you feel harsh or jerky shifts during acceleration, that's indicating problems with shift solenoids, valve body issues, or fluid contamination. When you hear whining noises that change with vehicle speed, that's often the planetary gear sets or bearings crying out for help before they fail catastrophically. Slipping during acceleration, where the engine revs but the vehicle doesn't accelerate proportionally, means clutches are already damaged and getting worse with every mile. If you notice any unusual behavior from your transmission, get it diagnosed immediately by a qualified technician who can identify the problem while it's still manageable and affordable to fix. Your automatic transmission is one of the most expensive components in your entire vehicle, and protecting it requires nothing more than understanding what destroys it and having the discipline to avoid those destructive habits. These habits cost you nothing to implement, but will save you thousands in avoided repairs. If this video just changed how you'll treat your transmission forever, hit that like button and share it with anyone who drives an automatic, because this knowledge is too valuable to keep to yourself. Drop a comment and tell me which of these habits you've been guilty of. No judgment, just education.